Welcome back to the Profitable Preschool Podcast, where we speak with visionary childcare CEOs who are building centers with staying power. I am your host, Alexis Lewis, CPA and founder of Little Ledgers Accounting, where we work with childcare owners to bring structure to the financial side of their mission, whether they're focused on stabilizing operations, planning for long-term sustainability, or preparing to scale. Our work goes beyond the bookkeeping. It's about building systems that support confident leadership. Every week, we go beyond the enrollment numbers and wait lists to explore what really drives sustainable success. Today's guest is an inspiring center owner whose journey reflects our 4 core pillars that I believe every center owner should really have in business: their body, their being, their bonding, and of course, the business. Today's guest is Kenyatta Colbert, founder of the Astounding Academy in Dunwoody, Georgia. She has created a nurturing, high-quality early learning environment where children are encouraged to explore, create, and grow. From STEM activities to gardening and cooking, Kenyatta's vision goes beyond the classroom, preparing great scholars for a greater future. Tell us how your journey into early childhood education began. Was there a personal moment that made you say, like, this is where I'm meant to be?
Yes. So I always wanted to be a lawyer. So my passion is always to help people. But of course, life start lifing. So, you get the jobs, you have the working at Home Depot, Wendy's, just the regular jobs that kind of build you up for what God has prepared for you. So I was working at a middle school. And I was like, okay, I was in 8th grade. So this was during COVID. So of course I was a para. So paras were basically teachers. So I was doing 7th and 8th grade math. And so some of the children were on like 3rd grade levels. And I'm like, how is this possible? And so talking to some of my elementary teachers, they was like, if they just had the foundation coming into school in kindergarten, we can kind of assist, so it was the early foundation part. So I'm like, So I went to school for early childhood, got my associate's degree. So God is so good. I was able to work my job, go to school, and build a business.
Oh, wow.
During the COVID times, because I got my center in 2022.
Okay.
So just having that passion to prepare the children for kindergarten, because that's a crucial point for them. So I always try to make sure that the children, of course, still have the structure of sitting under the table, throwing their trash away, speaking. When you're upset, it's okay to be upset. As adults, we get upset, but let's talk about it. What's wrong? What you didn't like? Try to recorrect them or redirect them. And so that helps them as well when they get ready to go to kindergarten.
Oh, I love that story. So you were teaching and working with older students and realizing that some of them were behind and realizing, wait a minute, this starts way before this.
Yeah.
And so how can I help prepare the next generation to be caught up, to be on target for where they should be? Now, you said you started your center in 2022. So in my work, I often find that the first year of owning a center is equal parts chaos and growth. Looking back at your first year, which I guess was 3 years ago, what challenges really kind of shaped you as a leader?
Of course, in 2022, just getting started, but they were still having the grant money. And, all of these things, they was just giving us things. So I am starting a new business, not knowing anything about business aspect. I had a cleaning company before, but it's nothing like dealing with students and payroll and parents. Cleaning, you going to somebody's house, cleaning it, that's it. So that was something major for me. So I was kind of like thrown in, when God placed you somewhere, you don't have time to ask questions because he's going to lead you. So I didn't know daycare. When you go to school, they give you a model. They don't train you for what you're going to go through. So I'm here just having a passion. I want my parents to be able to, do this and the kids to be able to come here. And I want to be a great leader for my staff. I don't want to micromanage them. So I'm having all these expectations, no money issues at this time because they're giving us money. So people getting overtime, it is at this point, no limit. So honestly, my first year and a half, I didn't have issues like that. But now the issues are arriving. I'm in my 3rd year.
And what would you say is one of the challenges that's kind of shaping you differently than maybe the first couple years?
So understanding that you definitely need systems in place. So if anybody wants to start a center, make sure you have systems in place.
Okay.
Mentors are definitely great. Somebody that you can talk to. When you first starting out, you can't afford a mentor sometimes. You know, mentors charge so much, but I always went on their YouTubes. Anything they was having free, I did it. Anything that was a couple dollars that I could join, I did it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, I gradually went on, just say if I went on one mentor's Instagram who was for childcare, I would go through and see who they're following, follow them, you know, kind of try to build my own network to get assistance until I was able to afford a mentor. But definitely systems, definitely a mentor.
Got it.
In the first growing process.
Okay, that makes total sense. And I'm in full agreement with that the systems make all the difference, because you can kind of duplicate yourself or take some work off of your plate by applying those systems, making sure that your staff is following those systems, making sure that the system is working for you even when you can't work, you know, overnight, collecting money from parents, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. So at Little Ledgers, we always talk about money kind of follows the mission. You talked about what the why was, like why you kind of started in your center. Was there any other things that kind of spurred that, other than the children kind of, the older children kind of being behind? Was there anything else that kind of made you really want to get into this field of work?
Yes. So now, of course, we're seeing children with a lot of exceptionalities, and it's so many parents in denial. And so I hate to say it, but my center is a helping stepping stone center. And I just had to realize that, you know, God has told me that I'm supposed to help people. I'm here to do that. So I used to get upset when people leave. You know, once I help them and they go on, I'm like, oh, you know, I kind of helped you find where you needed to, things you need to do, and you just leave. Mm-hmm. But now I'm getting this, you're just the stepping stone for them. So we have parents who children have exceptionalities, and of course they are either in denial or unaware. Okay. And so I always try to tell the parents, it's okay. Long as we taking care of it now, they will be great throughout their life, but we have to tackle it now. You know, some parents, they hate it. They go to another school and get, you know, because everybody kind of doesn't deal with it. So they'll get put out of their school, then guess what? They have to come back. And, you know, it's a hard conversation to tell somebody certain things about their children, but it's resources out there for them to help. So I try to make sure that they have those resources to get that assistance to help with them. So that's definitely my passion too, because they are so smart. They are the great kids, and they just need somebody to help them navigate things that they kind of don't understand.
Right, exactly. And I'm in full agreement. My journey as a mom started in 2020. So we found out a week before the world shut down that we were expecting. My first child was born in November of 2020. And so being a mom who has children that were born in that era, if you will, and seeing my child's peers who were born in that era, my son will be 5 in November, so we're right at that point. I have noticed that there have been more children who have exceptionalities, like you were talking about, specifically in this age group, maybe in higher numbers than what people have seen before. Mm-hmm. And with family members or otherwise of mine who have children in the same age group, I have seen the deniability, you know, of the parents really can't see it, or they're like, oh, well, so-and-so had a kid that didn't speak till they were 6 and they turned out to be fine. You know, that kind of thing that families say. And that very well may be true. However, if you can make that progress and start to work with it early on, it can make all the difference. Start getting them on that ball rolling so that they don't fall too far behind. So that's great that you have that in mind, because we don't know what the next years are going to be like. And having that center that's welcoming to students who have those exceptionalities is so important. Yes. So let's talk a little bit about the part of leadership that often people don't see, the physical demands. I've seen firsthand how owners who care for their body lead with more clarity, with more calm, with more confidence. What routines or rituals would you say kind of help you stay energized and physically grounded while running your center?
So, Alexis, I am now Sunday getting that together. In the last year or so, have just been feeling like I was in a box because it's just so much was going on. Of course, I got married, had a wedding. You know, you gotta kind of be a wife. So now I'm navigating being a wife, being a mother, dealing with a center. They calling me for everything. I can't even go to the store. So I haven't had time to sit and have a ritual or something that I do because everything has been out of order. But now I am getting to order to where I put everything on the calendar so I can remember it and see it. So that has been helping me. I'm going to clean my office completely on Monday. So that can help me. So kind of decluttering things. So I don't, every morning I do, of course, I wake up, I pray, and on the ride to the car, I listen to motivational speaking to just give me my leadership, my security back. Because, I kind of got in an insecure place. And as a leader, you need to say what you mean what you say. People do have things happen every day in life, but it's still a business. So I'm starting to run my center like this is a business. You can't be late. You're going to be suspended. You're written up. So I'm just being more stern of what I want and what they cannot do anymore.
Right. And so it sounds like maybe you didn't call them routines, but even you listening to motivational things on the way to work or making sure that you are, praying in the morning when you're getting up, praying for your students, whatever that may be, those are even routines, and it's odd because sometimes we get into, and I can say this for myself because I've recently started documenting my tasks a lot better so that they can be replicated by other people on my team and that kind of thing. But it started off where I was just trying to remember everything.
This was me.
Wait a minute, you're gonna drop a ball trying to keep it all in your head.
Right.
And God forbid something were to happen to you and you weren't able to do that task. It's like, how many of those things are you going to remember or that somebody else could be helping you with?
Right. It's like your baby.
Yes.
So I'm learning to delegate tasks. Like, it's okay. You don't have to be controlling everything. You don't have to know what's going on every moment if it's not something so serious. Just, you can't do it all. Delegate it. Give it to somebody else to do.
Absolutely. And sometimes I've heard that called de-skilling. Instead of having the person with the highest skills, the leadership team doing some of the smaller tasks, de-skill it or even hand it off to AI or some type of system to where it can handle that for you at a lower pay rate than what you should be, the things that you should be strategically working on as the leader.
Yes,
Totally
definitely.
get that. Okay. So now tell me, you're 3 years in. It sounds like the first year and a half or so went pretty smooth in terms of finances because of the supplements that you were able to get from the state for the COVID era. Have you hit a season of burnout or exhaustion yet and kind of had to reclaim your energy while still running your team and the center?
Yes. So, of course, I got diagnosed with high blood pressure, and it's with the weight as well. So I've gained weight, but it's the business also. So I just have to try to, like I said, be organized. Being a leader is very hard. So now I am in a place because every day I look at my account, the bills are high, the balance is low. And some days I just bust out laughing because I'm like, I just don't know. Everything I'm trying isn't working. The staff is, kind of doing too much. And I have had plenty of burnout, want to give up. Like, is this even for me? But, you always go back to your why. You wasn't given this to give up. Everything has a season. So I'm just in that season. It's a weird season. It's an isolation season, but I know why I'm in the season.
That makes total sense. And it's like you're there, you are meant to push through that.
Right. And it's very hard to be isolated. You really can't hear from God. You hear little murmurs, but you don't know. You're trying to be obedient. Everything's coming at you.
And then you'd be questioning, wait a minute, am I walking in my purpose?
Exactly. So I'm just, sticking it out. I know it will get better.
Absolutely. And I know when you and I talked initially, there was the question of like, wait, but I'm new to this. Like, well, what is it that I have to offer? And I told you, I said, listen, there's people out there who need to know that they're not alone. Right? That they're not experiencing this because they're incompetent or that they're, they haven't figured it out yet. This is a startup business. You're in your first 5 years of business and some people don't even make it to 3. And this is a difficult business to be in and you're doing it and you're doing it well. You're showing up and your team is showing up every day.
It's going to happen. And Alexis, it's crazy because I was asking God just take me out of my elements, put me in places to where I'm not used to. And it's crazy when you email me, I'm like, this must be fake because I know nobody not reaching out to me about finances. So I'm like nervous. And so when I called, I'm like, I hope she don't think I have it together.
Yeah.
So thankful for the call.
Yeah, because it's like we're highlighting you because you're exceptional. Because we see that not only are you building your business, but you're making a difference in the lives of the kids. And it's not all about who can build the biggest empire. We're looking at people who are influencers within the space and we're saying, oh, I'm trying to get like her. And sometimes we can even try to scale too fast without having all of the pieces together for where you are now. So you're really, in these first 3 to 5 years, you're really setting the foundation for what is to come. You're able to build those systems. And when you are ready to scale or expand, you can choose at that time, like, wait a minute, the second time it's easier.
Yes.
Because now I've worked out some of those kinks that were there at the beginning.
Right.
And now I have a newfound appreciation even for the process. And a lot of my systems are already set up and it's just rinse and repeat on some of those.
Yes.
Absolutely. So when I'm working with clients, a lot of times we don't just talk about spreadsheets and finances all the time, even though that is one of them. We also talk about belief, your purpose, your identity, your connection to something bigger than just the day to day. That's kind of what fuels longevity in this business. Everybody I've talked to so far has spoke about their faith, whatever that may be for them. How does your faith or spirituality shape how you lead and make decisions as a business owner?
Yes, so people say I'm too humble. I try not to overstep certain things. I kind of sit back and let things build up, kind of to see if it's me or is it you before I say something. And so I'm learning, kind of nip it in the bud then, express how you feel then instead of just waiting and let it fester. So I'm, working on that. My faith has been very shaken, a few months ago. And I know it's, that's the devil as well too. But I am getting back in the will of God. I'm on my 30-day fast right now, just trying to make sure that I'm not missing anything. I don't want to overstep what God has for me. I don't want to miss out. I want to be right where he has me to be. So I wasn't, you don't forget about God. Right. I just wasn't constantly going because, for me, I feel like I'm not about to keep asking God the same thing. God, I need help. I kind of stopped, asking him, but you're supposed to always ask and let him know and be thankful. And so that's what I'm getting back to, talking to him every day, because I know that he's going to lead me in the right direction. So I just pray every day that he continues to order my steps because I don't want to make any more wrong decisions.
Right. And if you are a leader, you still have to be following someone, something. If you are connected to the source, then that helps you to be able to manage your systems, helps you to be able to manage your process, helps you to be able to manage your staff and lead in the type of way that you want to. With your initial answer, it sounded like you were saying that there was maybe some issues with staff and you're like, I need to address this the first time I see it.
Yeah, so that's what I'm...
Is there any particular examples that you can think of that might help someone else who's on a similar path where there's a issue in your center or there's something that you need to address up front?
Yes, especially with late. So if you kind of have a small center and they're great, but they're always late. So you kind of try to deal with it because for one, you don't want to go back in the classroom. So you kind of accept that, but then that's what people will continue to do. And then when you correct it, it's like, well, I've been doing this. And so that is one thing you have to nip in the bud as well. Late, we have to suck it up and might have to go in the classroom just to show somebody and the rest of the staff, because when people think they need you, that's when things happen. Because they feel like, she ain't going to come in this classroom, so I can do this. She need me. So once people start feeling like that, they start being lax. So kind of trying to always be, it's not micromanaging, but watching them or letting them know, even though if you're not hiring nobody, bring people in and act like you're interviewing. Just so they can see, I could be replaced.
Yes.
And so and just not letting things slide. No, no, no. Now I tell them, can you make all the arrangements first? But I'm not up trying to figure out a replacement for you for today.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And so it's like you're teaching them how to treat you, showing what the culture of your center is by showing this is what we're able to tolerate, this is what we're not able to tolerate. If you're coming in late every single day, that's not acceptable. Because if we have
Exactly.
a certain number of children here, we have to have a ratio. If you're showing up late and the kids are here, then we gotta tell the parents to wait in the car until you get here. That doesn't work. So it's letting them know that you're willing to step in the classroom if you have to. We need you to come to the center with a certain level of excellence. And that part of that excellence is showing up on time based off of when your schedule was. That's good.
Definitely.
Because if I need you to stay late, you're going to want that overtime money.
Exactly. Anytime yes, you want that overtime, but you just can't get to work on time. It's crazy.
Right, exactly. I know we talked a little bit about this, but when cash flow is tight or systems aren't working, oftentimes it's mindset that kind of gets people through those. What beliefs or practices have helped you to stay grounded in those challenging seasons?
With cash flow, grounded in just knowing that it can all be taken away from you. I do try to advertise for my center as well. So I am working on that because we are up a hill. We are a hidden gem. Like if you ride past, you won't be able to see us. So I'm working on advertising and getting out in the community as well to bring awareness to the center. So that's why I say when people first starting off getting centers, kind of trying to work on your marketing, definitely have your systems. Make sure you're hiring the right staffs. Weed them out in the beginning so you won't have to let it linger on later. So just try to do everything up front when you first get in your center.
Got it. That's good advice. Kenyatta, we often talk about business growth, but rarely talk about kind of how that intersects or aligns with our personal relationships. I believe that you can have both a successful business and still be connected and have fulfilling relationships with your family. And I try to always make sure that my clients build with both in mind. How do you now stay connected to your family or your loved ones while still leading a demanding business?
So I am the oldest of my siblings. And, I help my grandmother out. Family is totally different. My family was working with me, like my sisters, they were working with me. But everybody can't take you telling them what to do in a business setting. None of my family works for me now. My daughter comes in the summer, but I can control that. With my family, I help them out as much as I can. Whatever they need, I'm there for them. It is kind of hard when you have been helping and then when it's downtime to where you can't help somebody, you need help. So just navigating that with them. Letting them, this is a season where I just need you guys a support right now.
Right. Yeah. Starting off with those boundaries. It sounds like you started off with, okay, I'm starting this business. Y'all can work in this business with me. We're going to keep it all in the family. And then realizing, well, some people aren't able to take direction well from family members because we have that closer relationship. So we'll have to give a little arm's length of space between us so that we can keep that familial relationship
strong.
And also letting them know, like, yeah, you guys did help me out in that season when I needed you. And I was able to help you guys out, maybe financially during, times that were hard. And now I'm kind of on the other side and need a little bit more support.
Yes, definitely.
Have there been any key supporters kind of in your journey? Somebody who helped you, family or otherwise, helped you and reminded you about who you are?
Yes, so definitely my grandmother, but she's my mother dear. She helped me start my business. Look, if I need payroll, she helps me as well. My husband is my number one supporter. With their speaking conversation, he always motivates me, like you are that girl, you get out and do this. He pushes me out of my comfort zone a lot. And so I really appreciate and thank him for that. I have friends who support me and help me and pour into me. We have a community with the Childcare. If I need advice or anything, they help and pour it because we kind of all going through the same thing. So it's good to have that outlet to speak to people who are not in your close circle that understand what you're going through.
Right. And it sounds like your spouse really thinks highly of the work that you do.
Yes. Because if I come home like they just not working, the staff, he like, well, fire them all. I come up there and I'm like, oh, it's really bad if he said he coming to watch a child.
Like, look, he's like, I'd rather you deal with me and we deal with it than for you to have to be stressed out coming home and dealing with it.
Right.
Yeah, on your own. Has he been able to see kind of how your center has impacted lives beyond, just yours or your family's?
Yes, because he always, of course, is on the Astounding page and he shouts it out on his page. And he always said, that's major. Y'all had a good turnout. We did a movie on the lawn, our first one. Pretty good turnout. So it's just a different aspect to like being a real true business owner. Mm-hmm. So, he loves to see the children grow and how we're assisting them with it.
That is great. Yeah, it's always nice when you have the support at home because when you have a tough day, when you have a tough week, when you have a tough, whatever that season may be, for them to be there encouraging you to keep going. I've heard that a lot across even our other guests on the podcast about how their family members or their spouse has been like their key supporter and kind of help holding them up when they're feeling a little weak in the knees, if you will, about continuing forward and just, kind of reassuring you that like it's all going to work out. It's all going to be okay. That's good. That's good. So now let's talk about the business itself. The profit does not just happen by accident. The owners that I work with often reach a point where they realize that they have to move beyond just the passion. They need the process in order to get to the profit. So what was kind of a turning point in your center's growth where you knew that you were leveling up from like owner to like CEO?
Definitely my second year, and I'm like, we almost made $1 million. Mm-hmm. So my account ain't reflecting that. But I was like, oh my God, I'm a CEO of a multi-million-dollar business.
Yes.
So it was a different level from with owning. And then you have big girl payroll taxes and big girl taxes you got to pay back. And I'm like, I'm used to receiving a refund check. You mean I got to pay you some money back? Right. So just navigating and figuring like, this is not a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's like seeing the numbers, it sounds like it's kind of what kind of spoke to you in terms of like, ooh, wow, we brought almost $1 million in. We're doing some big things here. Oh, and that tax bill is due. That's kind of high.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I got it. Well, one of the things that I do is kind of help our clients to untangle kind of the chaos of their systems from like payroll to enrollment and staffing and things like that. What's been a challenging area for you to systemize? And then how did you navigate it or how are you navigating it?
So definitely payroll. I am trying to figure out. I know the problem is our student numbers have dropped due to the new administration, just, parents, the economy, everything. So I understand the drop, but my payroll is my number one thing that I'm trying to figure out, and I probably do need to cut some teachers. And so that's another thing because I'm like, I have people's lives in my hand. Yeah. So, I don't even pay myself so I can make sure that they getting paid. But then it's like, I got to solely depend on my husband for the bills. So payroll is definitely my number one expense that I'm having problems with.
Okay. And have you systemized that at all? Like systemized as in like, are you using a payroll software? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, I do. I use a payroll software, ADP. So, the system it's just the more teachers than the children.
Got it.
So I'm trying to figure out what's the best solution. I'm thinking because they get paid bi-weekly. Should I pay them bi-weekly? Should I pay them weekly? Should I pay them twice a month? Like the 15th and the 30th, like the school system do. So just trying to figure out that to where I can have or see extra money.
Got it. Okay, that makes total sense. So it sounds like the question is more so like, wait a minute, my payroll is my highest expense, which is normal. Just so you know, we have 4 different buckets that we put expenses in. I call it people, which is your payroll.
Right.
You also have your property, so the building, utilities, insurance, all that kind of thing. You also have your program expenses, so anything that's directly related to the kids. So that's the food, toys, and supplies and things like that. And then you have the process, the overall things that you have to pay for, like your accountant or your systems and things like that you have to pay for. That's just kind of the general business expenses, marketing, things like that.
Right.
And payroll is the highest one everywhere across the board. Generally speaking, we say about half of the money that you're bringing in should be going, well, not should be, but that's normally the industry standard is about 50 to 55%. So if you're seeing that and you're feeling that, that could be why. And
Okay.
oftentimes what we've seen is that the reason that folks are struggling is because their payroll's at 80% of what
Yeah.
they're bringing in. Instead
Mhm.
of adjusting the staffing numbers to reflect where the revenue is and what you need in terms of ratios that are
Right.
required, it's like sometimes we have too much staff or our amount that we are able to pay is really, really high in comparison
Hi.
to what it goes for. So you're not alone in that either. That
Okay,
payroll
good.
cost is the number one thing across the board because sometimes, especially if you have infants, the infant classroom, you can only have like 3 or 4 kids to a teacher.
Teacher.
And you have to also still be able to pay for the building and the diapers and all the things that they may
Yes.
need. So that's a area that's oftentimes not really profitable, but as the kids get older, it works out just fine.
Yes, definitely.
What would you say you are most proud of when it comes to your center, what you've built, not just financially necessarily, but maybe even culturally as well?
I'm proud of the growth that I have seen with the children that first started with me. I'm proud that it was children that wasn't talking or just out. They had behavior issues. They wasn't potty trained. The parents couldn't get them to eat. The parents couldn't get them to talk. And for us just to be able to assist them with it, all our 2-year-olds are potty trained. It's just amazing to me, and it makes me so proud because it's like I'm making a difference. Because one of the parents, she just told me the school asked her, where did they come from? And she told them, and she was like, oh, okay, that's good. And I was like, oh, I feel good. We are making a change in them.
Absolutely. And that goes along with your overall mission. The work that
Yes.
the reason that you got started with this is to make sure that they have that kindergarten readiness, that they're
Right.
ready to go in and they're going in strong and they're showing out, it sounds like,
Yes.
as they go. That's excellent. And hopefully that you ask that mom for a review too, so that you can make sure that
Right.
you're
You are
adding
right.
that to that.
I need to.
Because I mean, I think one of the biggest concerns even for myself as a parent of young kids is that you want to make sure that they're not behind. I think that's one of
Exactly.
those fears of parents of, is my child on par for where they should be? I want to make sure
Mm-hmm.
that I'm doing whatever I can, or that the place where they're taking care of them during the day is preparing them for that next step.
Next step.
And
Mm-hmm.
not just kind of free willing it, if you will, and letting them just kind of do whatever. But so that's really great that you're getting that kind of feedback that
Yes.
now that they're in kindergarten, the kindergarten teachers are like, wait a minute, where did
Right. With
where did
that
this
came. So
child
I was
come?
like, okay,
Yes,
astounding.
absolutely. That's good. So tell me a little bit about what is next for you and your center. Are there any growth goals, expansions, innovations that you're dreaming about?
Yes, so definitely want to work on getting my playground. We have like a nature-based playground,
Okay.
and it has gotten old. So I definitely want to expand and get a more updated playground. I do want to work on getting my pre-K classroom filled and just being able to be a part of the Georgia Lottery program as well with the pre-K kids. And just being able to do certain things to get us known, bring things to the center that the children like my girls, they love to dance. I want to be able to have people show them how to dance or do gymnastics. So just trying to bring more programs to the school. And I also want to kind of have a RBT or OT because we do have a speech therapist on site. So just
Okay.
bringing more things to where our center can kind of be a one-stop shop
Hmm.
for the parents.
For sure. And that definitely is a place where I could see you standing out as well. Not everybody can have an OT in their, or a speech therapist on
Right.
staff that's working with the kids on a day-to-day basis. So that's an amazing opportunity to definitely stand out as well. And then obviously being able to upgrade your playground equipment is wonderful and become part of the Georgia Lottery system. That would be amazing to kind of see
Amazing.
as you go. Yeah, absolutely. So let me see. You're 3 years in, going into
Yes.
your fourth year. So if a
Mhm.
brand new center owner came to you today, someone who wants to build a meaningful business without the burnout, what would you tell them?
First, make sure that you have your systems in place. So while you're thinking of wanting to be a childcare center owner, are you looking at centers and you're in the process, work on your systems. That will keep you from constantly talking to your staff. Because once it's a system, this is what it is. it makes it easier for you to let somebody go because they're not following the systems. Stand on what you're saying. If this is how you want something done, this is how you want it done. You can ask for suggestions, but if it's not working for how you want it, then that's what it is. Be bold in what you want in your choices. If you're able to get a mentor, definitely get one so they can assist you. If not, YouTube it. Go on their Instagram Live. Some of the people that, they have Instagram Live, take a long shot, DM them and see or email. You never know. Keep getting those till you get a yes.
Mm-hmm.
But an organization. So systems and organizations, and just be bold into what you want for your center.
Can you tell me a specific system that you think would have made your life so much easier day one? That you have in place now, maybe that was something that you didn't have in place when you first started, whether it be with staff or with technology, that kind of thing?
With staff, definitely kind of training them. And that's another thing. Thank you, Alexis. Train your staff for a week or two. Some people train them for 30 days. But if you somehow can't go in that classroom, train them for at least 2 weeks, because that keeps down people not knowing. That's one thing people say, well, I didn't know. Nobody told me. Even though in your brain, it's like, it's common sense. You should take out your trash twice a day. So just training them their first 2 weeks of how you want this room to be. What are your expectations? Let them know, regardless. I know it's hard for us to be the owners. We have to make sure we have payroll together, make sure we're bringing in the money, but that will keep you to be able to be in the office and not in the classroom if you train them.
Right. Okay. So even something as simple as the system about how often or what time of day trash has to be taken out, that's a system. They need to be trained that
they need to train.
and those are the 2 times a day that you have to make sure that the trash is taken out in this room.
What I'm learning is dot. When you come into the building, cut on the light, turn on the crock pot, roll out the mats. Like, they definitely need dot. If you give them room to not have it and they do it their own way, or they say they won't do it, I mean, nobody told them, that's what they would use.
Right. I totally understood. And like you said, if you have a system, then you know that regardless of who's working that morning, that the same steps will happen, so that it's truly a process that they're going through every single day. And you make sure that all the things that would have needed to be handled are all handled, because everybody knows that.
One thing I would wish, and I probably wouldn't have such a high blood pressure, is those systems. Number one.
Systems. Sounds like the advice would be to think about what those systems would be that you need in place every single day. What if I was to walk in here, what would I need to do?
Once you start being in the business, anything that you don't like or had a conflict with, make it a system.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
We had a parent, she brought her wipes in. We had non-scented wipes, and the lady in the baby room, she used the non-scented wipes on the baby instead of the parent wipes. So she made a hoop holler about, you using the wrong wipes on my baby, and da 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 da. And bibs too. My baby have these bibs only. No problem, ma'am. We made a system now. We have non-scented wipes. They use on all children. If you want to bring wipes, they are, they will be used, but all non-scented wipes are used on all children. And we provide our own bibs.
Right. Because it can be so easy for those types of things to get lost every time. Yes. Every time I change this child, I got to go get this pack of wipes. And then with this child, I got to get that pack. I can imagine that creates chaos, because you're like, can I just wipe this behind, please? With one part of the system, because now allergies aside or something like that. Like you said, non-scented makes the most sense. But it's like, I can see how that can create chaos for your teachers when they're trying to decide
the parents.
Yes, exactly. And all the numerous needs and wants that they might have on a day-to-day basis. So that makes total sense.
And another thing, don't be afraid to lose a parent or a teacher. Because if someone wants to go because of a rule, they wasn't the parent for you or the teacher. Our money isn't good money. You do need the money, but your peace and the atmosphere of your center is more important.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you're running that center and having those children in the building on a day-to-day basis. So it's
Right.
best for you to decide kind of what works for our environment and what
Mm-hmm.
works for our staff and what works for our systems and putting those things in place. And like you said, if it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit. Every place is not for everybody.
About it. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Definitely.
That makes sense. Well, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today. I love that you were so open and transparent with your story. It is a perfect example of how, you can get started, have a great program, and also still have room to grow and room to move
Yes.
and room to be able to do things differently and learn from your experiences. And I love how you've created structure and systems as time has gone on. You obviously have the belief and also the support behind you. And so I just want to say to our listeners, if you're listening and you think that I need that kind of foundation for my center, or I need some help with that, you can definitely reach out to Little Ledgers. We can help with smart tax strategy, clean financials, CEO level clarity for owners like you. And I also want to know, Kenyatta, how can people get in touch with you?
So you can follow me on Instagram at the Astounding Academy. And if you have any questions, you can email me at info@theastoundingacademy.com.
Oh,
And
amazing. Go
Mr.
ahead.
Alexis, I want to thank you. You have brought me out of my element. This was so fun. I wasn't nervous when I've been nervous for like 2 weeks and like, oh my God, I hope she calls and say we have to reschedule. This was really fun. I enjoyed it.
You are welcome. Thank you for lending your story and your advice to other owners to see that they're not alone, that they are, even if they're in isolation and they don't have friends or family who are in this exact space, that there are other owners around the country who are in a similar place. I think that is so important to share. So thank you again for being on the podcast. So until next time, when we meet again, keep on leading with love and building with purpose.